All right, so let's take a look at value investing, and where else to start other than the performance. How has the value strategy performed over time? So we're going to be looking at the average annual percentage return here between the S&P 500 and then a value index. And you'll notice that the dates are slightly different. So this isn't exactly an apples to apples comparison, but it is pretty close. So the average return for the S&P 500 over the time period 1928 to 2016 is right around 10%. So a pretty good. So the next slide we have here is looking at some well-known value investors. As a somewhat amateur investor, it's always interesting to look and see who's come before us and if they've done a good job. So the first person we'll look at is Benjamin Graham. Benjamin Graham wrote two books that were seminal works on the value investing concept. First was Security Analysis, and the second was The Intelligent Investor. And The Intelligent Investor, the book, had a very large impact on our next well-known investor, which is Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett is obviously on the Forbes top 20 richest people list. I think at this time right now he's number 6 or somewhere around there. But he's quite wealthy, and he's done it all through the value investing strategy. Another person to look at is Carl. All right, so let's do a check on learning and do a value investing review here. We'll look at some pros and cons of the value investing strategy. The first pro that I have listed here is that value investing performs well over time. 17% average annual return from 1926 to 2016. Now compare that to the S&P 500's 10%. So it returns a very good with the strategy. Obviously, the next pro, some of the most famous investors are value investors at their core. So that always helps us, give a little bit more confidence in our strategy that many wealthy people have used the strategy before and succeeded. It's also a simple strategy to implement. Now, you kind of just have to take that on faith at this moment, because in the next section of this course, we'll actually look at how to implement the strategies and different ways to implement the strategies. Some of the cons are that it can go years underperforming the market. And to be clear, this is not unique to value investing. Just about any strategy can do this, but I did want to at least point it out here. It's also not a glamorous strategy, because it usually holds stocks that are really beat down and hated by the market. So this isn't really a strategy you want to go talk to your friends about at the party and tell them what your holdings are, because they'll probably laugh at you. This also requires serious discipline and a long-term focus on returns. Once again, this isn't unique just to value investing strategy, but it is worth pointing out that this is a long-term focused strategy. Sometimes mean reversion on companies can take 3 to 5 years, so this is something you want to be patient with.